Well, welcome back to the Agents Confidential podcast. I'm Eric,
And I'm Yana.
and today we've got Nathan Wirth from Trinity Health Plan. Is that how we say it, or I always get confused with the Medigold?
Yeah, so we're Medigold, but in Michigan we're Trinity Health Plan in
Oh, that's
Michigan.
right. I'm really excited to have Nathan in the studio today. Nathan is a former agent himself, so he's been in your shoes. And today we wanted to talk about why insurance agents should build a strong relationship with their carrier reps, as you are a carrier rep for Trinity Health Plan. Let's start off by just kind of giving a little background about yourself and your journey through the industry.
Sure. Yeah. Well, lovely to be here. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So I think like many of us, I don't know if I set out to be in the insurance industry to start with. I actually have a bachelor in art. So
Okay.
and I actually went back to school as an occupational therapy assistant. And I think like a lot of folks during the whole COVID debacle there, I think a lot of job trajectories changed. And my brother at the time was a broker manager for another carrier, and he said, "Hey, why don't you take a look at this? I think you might like this more than you think." And so I went, looked it up, took the test, did all the certification, and got my first client. Was super nervous, but it went well. And after that, I was hooked. So
Nice.
was doing that for a few years, and then I got a call from Trinity and said, "Hey, they're looking for a rep, and they're moving into Michigan. We really need someone who's got some experience in the field, and you come highly recommended. So, what do you think?" And took a little convincing, but I'm wearing the purple shirt today.
There you
So,
go.
and I've been with Trinity since fall of 2023. So.
And did your brother Michael work there before or after you started?
So he started just a few months prior as the
Okay.
sales manager of Michigan. So he deals with the internal side and the budgets of the state, and I work completely on the external team, so all the
Nice.
broker agents.
I don't know if our listeners have dealt with this, but I've had the pleasure of work with some amazing product and service reps. I really feel that, the products are the products, but when you have a good relationship with somebody, I think it's much more dynamic. It kind of takes your understanding and comfort level to a whole new level when you have that, like what I'd consider like a expert on speed dial, right? And I call them and we don't have to go through the pleasantries and all the things. Like I've got that good relationship and I'm just like, "Hey, thanks for picking up. I just need this really quick and let's catch up later." And it can be back on my way. Have you had experiences like that?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. And I mean, I know your experience and your past experience being a rep as well is that is one of the benefits is you don't have to have this uncomfortability or this awkward pause because you have an established relationship. And I think probably a theme you're going to hear today is like communication, communication, right?
Yeah.
Nathan, how do you see like the carrier rep agent relationship? Like what does that mean for an agent?
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to depend, first of all, what carrier you're dealing with. There are small carriers, there are massive, carriers, but really at the end of the day, the carrier rep is hopefully kind of a liaison or intermediary for the agent to have some type of connection with the carrier itself.
Yeah.
They obviously aren't privy to all of the internal sides, and so they really rely on that rep to deliver the news, the product updates, and vice versa too. It's not just a take. We rely as a carrier rep a lot on the feedback that we get from agents.
Yeah.
That's why if you see those broker survey broker surveys come out, please fill those out. We we do look at them, I promise.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of both, but I think a liaison kind of between the two is really, it's establishing a relationship.
For sure. When it comes to building a relationship with a carrier rep, someone like you, what makes a good agent stand out in your eyes and from your perspective?
Yeah. So, I mean, from my perspective, or at least my experience, the agents that have kind of the best relationship with me or who I think of are the ones that again, communicate with me.
Yeah.
They reach out to me, and it's not always just about work. It's, hey, how you doing? I have a question, but let me catch up with you a little bit too when we have some time. It's those ones though that established contact early on, and nurtured that,
Yeah.
and that goes both ways.
For sure.
I think a few key points that I find, and this could be good reference for anybody wondering what a rep can bring to them. Like Nathan was just saying, access to the information, product updates, changes to plans, underwriting nuances, and such, but also faster problem solving. To be able to reach out to somebody and say, I've started this process. It seems to be taking longer than it should. To reach out to your reps to try to elevate that. To maybe there is a bat phone, if you will, to make a call and to get something done. I think the training provided is underrated. I think all too often agents feel like they know everything. And, I've been doing this business a long time. There's nothing a newer carrier rep could ever teach me. I think it's always important to be fully up to date and maybe even doing some one-on-one sessions instead of just going to a webinar or things. I think if you, Nathan, are going to take the time to visit with someone, like you're going to see things they're not even asking you about to be able to give some advice or tips on ways they could be better, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when we have a sit down conversation, you come to me with your concerns, your questions, your future outlook for growing your business or maintaining your book. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know everything that's going on in your life or in your business. So when you can come to us and address these questions and concerns, that gives us a great ground level on going, hey, we didn't think about that before. Or, hey, maybe this policy change that we made, this is affecting in a negative sense that we didn't really even consider, right? So, yeah, I think, as you said, it doesn't just have to be a massive carrier panel attendance or a webinar, but reach out for the one-on-ones. Honestly, that's where you're going to get probably the most bang for your buck.
I think so too. In another area of more like marketing and sales support, I was thinking about this earlier. How can you, as a carrier rep, reinvest into an agent that you don't know? Right? It's impossible.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's say you have a lead or an opportunity or a newfangled device that you're testing in this marketplace. You can only give that to people that you know. And I've always recommended to agents, get to know the sales reps. You don't know exactly how they're going to benefit you, but they will at one point or another.
Absolutely. I mean, the metric that, everyone goes by is production reports, right?
Right.
So, well, do you need marketing support or you need assistance? And they're going to take a look. The first thing they're going to do is, well, how much have you produced for us, right? And if we don't see anything, or if you're an unknown quantity, then how do I know, that you're going to sell? Now you have every intention to, and just as it's important for grassroots campaigning, for your client base, it's just as important with your reps to nurture that, relationship. So I do know who you are. I can qualify your character and say, no, I think this person, they're getting started, or maybe they're in a new area, but I think they're worth a chance to work with.
Right. I like that. Pro tip, your rep doesn't work for you, but they definitely work with you. I think we should treat them like a part of our team.
And I'll say to that, we got a great group of agents in the state.
We're lucky.
We do. I am very blessed.
Michigan has the upper hand.
Michigan's always the best, so.
Nathan, what are some good tips that carrier reps in general should and can be helping agents with?
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, training is going to be just the biggest thing, and a source of news, right? The kind of announcements from the company itself, the carrier. But yeah, doing those trainings, whether it's a webinar, first looks, broker rollout events. And then with that too comes along the sticky issue of compliance, right? It in this, especially this ever-changing policy regime, right? I think the last year and a half we've seen some massive changes, and just trying to keep up on that, making sure that you're staying compliant, following the rules to the best of your ability. That's going to help when you have someone who also has extra resources like the carrier rep does. But, along with that too, marketing kits, any type of supplies, brochures. Maybe it is looking in the fact for marketing or co-op dollars that you're looking to expand or advertise. That's always a good spot to start with your carrier rep. And then taking a look at the local market. So you might be a new agent in this market, and you might be working with a rep who's a longtime veteran, right? They've got decades in this market, and they can tell you, don't waste your time in this area, or hey, you might want to concentrate your efforts in this area first, right? That's use that resource just like you use all your other resources,
right.
Your quoting data and all that.
I would have never thought to use a carrier rep and ask about that. So that's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing carrier reps, especially, shout out to the west side of Michigan that, that have a lot of experience. Even if they're maybe newer to one carrier, they might have a lot of experience with previous carriers or have been in the business as well. And then, at the end of the day too, the carrier rep they're on your side as well. They work for the carrier, but it is in their best, interest to work with you and establish a relationship. So making sure that, if there are commission questions and bonus programs, the carrier rep wants you to know that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? And not so much with our plan, but certainly with other carriers, other products that are available as well, right? Are there ancillary products, under 65, what have you? They may not oversee that product directly, but they can get you in contact with the people that you need to start talking with.
Are there certain things that a newer agent should ask you that maybe they don't?
So I would always ask, where can you find the plan documents, the EOC, the summary of benefits, first of all. As a broker, you probably represent 10 to 15 carriers. You probably have over 70 to 100 plans. There's no way you can keep track of that all. So lean on those documents, those resources to help you. The other thing too, I'd just say is make that call.
Yeah.
Talk with the rep. Want to sit down for coffee? Got an hour to talk?
Yeah.
Give me your elevator speech, on the plan there. And don't be shy, at all. I don't think there are any wallflowers that are going to succeed in this industry.
Yeah. I'm curious if there are certain things, I know we've talked about what not to do for your, don't bug your carrier up with useless things and don't blow up their phones. But how can agents use their rep to actually grow their business? Like maintaining it and asking questions and things for servicing clients is one thing. But in terms of growing their book of business, are there specific resources that carrier reps can help, agents grow their book?
Yeah. So, I'll speak a little bit to my known experience with Trinity. So we offer a couple incentives, I suppose, for agents. One of them being information tables that we host at our ministries at the hospitals and medical pavilions. These are free of use for the agents to use. And so I have lots of new agents coming to me saying, hey, I'm just looking to get out in the public.
Yeah.
Well, here's a great resource for you that does not cost you anything but your time.
Yeah.
Checking with your rep to see, hey, do they have a lead incentive program? If I maybe sell a certain amount, will I get put on a lead list? With Trinity here, we offer Medicare 101 options and sales seminars throughout the year for our agents. And I'll be perfectly frank, when I first started this job and we had no metrics to go off of, there was no one that had sold yet. So I offered seminars to people who called me and talked with me, right?
Yeah.
So,
With
just
people you knew.
just give them a call, see what's available.
Yeah.
I think is, I can't speak for everyone, but just see what's available.
Is there a good way to ask that? I feel like as an agent, I wouldn't know what to say. Like, do I just call and say, hey, are there any, what do I say?
Yeah, depending on how assertive you are as a person, maybe explain your situation, introduce yourself, and and say, yeah, I'm looking for opportunities in my area.
Yeah.
What does your carrier offer?
I love that.
Yeah, I was like saying I have capacity to grow. I'm looking for marketing opportunities, and maybe be aware of some that you've seen out there. Like there's senior expos
Yes.
where some carriers will need, they're sponsoring, but they need an agent to be there to talk to the people. Well, if you're asking for those opportunities, then you have a better chance than if you're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that's maybe, and I love that question, Yana. One thing that may be hard to give a metric to how they help you grow, I think just in general, as agents become more efficient at what they do, they can see more people, right? So, Nathan, I want you to talk a little bit about, because I've been at a lot of trainings and people refer to go to our website. There's so much information, so many resources. But I feel like at the surface, people like go to the homepage and be like, where is it? Have you gone through with agents and like, oh, this is how you navigate our website to, and they're like, well, why didn't you tell me that?
Yes. I mean, so just last week, actually, I went to a new agent's house. We sat down for a few hours, kind of showed him the products, and I went through, he's not as tech savvy, or not as comfortable. So,
Sure.
I mean, I sat down on his home computer with him and I bookmarked all his links for him and
Nice.
just kind of showed him, hey, here's the find a provider tool. Here's the medicine, RX comparison tool. Here's where you can check the plan documents, right? I mean, I wish I could do this for every single person, but first of all, I can't do it to everyone if they don't reach out to me with that ask. The best we can do sometimes is just put that
Raise your
info. yeah, exactly. Raise your hand, but put that info out into the ether, or throw the bait out and hope it, gets some fish on the line to ask those questions. But that being said, that's certainly something we can improve upon too,
I think I got an idea of making like a Loom video of you doing that.
Yeah.
And then putting it in, just maybe you could post it on our Facebook channel.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right. So then people can access it if they want, or just putting it in a link in your emails when you send out, like do it for a month saying, hey, here's some helpful, because I find
You could even just send everything in an email. Say, save this email,
Yeah.
star it, put it in a folder where you know where to access it.
Yeah, and there are some carriers out there that have some amazing libraries of resources
Yeah.
that you can do anything, and I envy those libraries. But no, that's excellent. That's always kind of a word of encouragement for the reps too. Is we can't just rely on our broker agents to be improving themselves. We also need to be taking a look at that as well, and how can we improve our communication.
Yeah. I like it. And I kind of go back and forth between figuring it out for yourself and reaching out, right? And I think it's one of those things where I guess if your knee-jerk reaction is to reach out to your rep, great. And if they can answer the call because they weren't doing something and get you the answer, great. But if you have to leave a voicemail about what's the copay on the specialist when they could just find that information, I feel like agents are slowing themselves down, waiting for an answer that they could easily find themselves.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. And we don't know the circumstance. Maybe sometimes they're on the road too. And I have no problem looking anything up, but yeah, I think, I've always kind of had this, internal motivation, to better myself and look for something, that's kind of my whole jam is I want to be able to do it myself if I can.
Yeah.
And I'm here for the tough questions too. Of course I'm here for anyone who, if you do have those questions, I can answer your copays, but what I really like are the ones that you don't hear very often and go, you know what, hold on a second, I got to look this up.
Do you have any examples of a recent tough one?
That you're allowed to share?
Yeah, I'll say that you can't leave the person's names out.
Yeah, I mean, so the ones that come to mind are more like dealing with enrollment and probably a lot of you here, it's a pain point recently with Social Security and their delays,
Yeah.
issuing Part B effectives and MBIs. And I'm dealing with one right now where the agent's enrollment or applicant was backdated for some unknown reason, her Medicare for like back in September. For no reason, but it's something that we have to kind of work with Social Security now.
Okay.
It's kind of escalated, right? And that's, I think that's the name of the game is the carrier reps. We can be used as an escalation tool, right? I kind of refer to myself as a hammer sometimes, like when you've tried all what you can do as the agent, and then I come in and kind of break things up a bit. So
Sure. The enforcer.
I like that. Yeah.
From what I'm understanding is if I'm a new agent, or even if I'm an agent who does not have an established relationship with my carrier reps, give them a call, check in, start that conversation. And what I would do is just like how you helped that agent kind of figure out where to find everything, like what bookmarks to have. So for the basic questions, like where can I find all of this information, save that, and build the relationship slowly over time, but save the big questions and the big problems for when you need to call, so that I'm not raising your blood pressure every time you see my name come up on your phone. And like, oh, this is another silly little question, I'm sure. Like, I'm not blowing up your phone every day, but if it's a big thing, then reach out after you've exhausted all of your resources.
Yeah. I think that's usually a good rule of thumb. And at the end of the day, the carrier reps that you work with, they're people pleasers. We like talking with people, like we wouldn't be in this position if we did not like talking with people.
Right. Yeah.
So don't be shy. We don't bite.
Nathan, when you think of the most successful agents that you've helped, what is their secret sauce or something noticeable or notable about them that stands out?
Yeah, so there have been agents I've worked with that are veterans of the industry. I have not done anything that has made them amazing. They were already great, right?
Yeah.
But the newer agents that I've worked with who were just kind of getting in the field, the ones that have been successful, it's that almost indescribable grit, I guess, is they're just willing to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
They're not shy. And again, like I said, I don't think you can be a wallflower and really, really succeed in this industry. You have to be willing to pick up the phone. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, do events, reach out to contacts, even if it might be uncomfortable. So the ones that have been the most successful have been the ones who have been able to master that.
I love that.
And I 100% agree. You have to have grit, and that there's going to be hurdles and straight up roadblocks.
Absolutely.
To trying to help your clients, and you can't give up, right? You get to know, trust, but verify, right? It's like you heard somebody say something, oh yeah, that's going to be approved. And it's like, you got to make sure it goes all the way through. You got
more than ever, I think.
Well past the finish line.
Yeah.
Are there any things that you've seen that agents are doing, whether it's systems, different marketing ventures that are just so much more effective than some of the traditional things that maybe aren't working anymore?
Well, I think for one, this kind of blows me away sometimes. I hear about agents that don't have a CRM system or some type of organizational
Doesn't that
system.
scare you? Oh my
It
gosh.
terrifies me because there's just no way you can keep track of that all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if anything you get out of this is figure out some type of organization system when setting up your business on that tool front. I think the ones that are most successful are the ones that are not running around panicked, trying to figure everything out at the last minute. Utilizing your uplines, marketing, utilizing their quoting tools. What's the one over here at AEG?
Benefit advice.
We got Benefit Advice, right?
Yep. Connects
It's
your
an
platform.
agent favorite.
Yep.
It is. Yep. I hear good things about it. I mean, we're on it, so it's got to be great.
It's got to be great. Makes it better.
And then, I was just talking with an agent the other day. He routinely is getting 20 to 40 people attending Medicare 101s, which I think is a phenomenal attendance rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, what are you doing? He says, you wouldn't believe it, but just social media, like just
Mm.
Love
Facebook.
it. Yep.
And I almost couldn't believe it, but I think we're finally into that, the seniors are really have embraced social media.
Specifically Facebook, I think.
Yeah. Facebook's definitely seemed to be their kind of beacon. And I would say even like 5-10 years ago, that was not a very successful platform
Right.
to market. So take a look at that. Oftentimes you can either do it for free or for a very low cost on your end.
You know what I've found with, and I think it's maybe the demographics of our family, is my parents got on Facebook so they could stay up to date with pictures of the kids. And then when they're on there looking at the kids, they start seeing other things. And then they're like, start sending me things from Facebook, like, oh, look at this reel, or look at this, golf thing or whatever, where, oh, wow, now I found a Medicare seminar that I can attend. It's interesting how they, get acclimated to a system of information. I had a question, because I think you've done this, but for an agent that is newer, I would say generally, you've done ride-alongs with agents and kind of shadowed them throughout the days, haven't you?
I have. In fact, I just did one earlier today,
Yeah?
now that you mention it. But absolutely. I mean, if, see what your carrier rep schedule is, this time of year is a great time of year to be asking them. It's a bit on the slower side where, we're still not even real ready for AEP yet. So yeah, if you just want some advice from a carrier rep, hey, can you watch me, or can you just sit along at a, my first enrollment or something like that?
Mm.
Yana had in our first episode, we talked about you can't read the label from inside the bottle, right?
I like that.
That one's been on repeat.
Yeah, it's one
Since
sticking
the start
around.
of this
yeah.
podcast.
But it's that, I think, emotional intelligence a bit to say, like, I know I'm not perfect. Let me have someone watch me and pick up on some things that I'm also doing well. Like, oh, when you use this, they really lit up. You need to tell that story to everybody.
Yeah.
Or the ones that don't really hit, you're like, well, maybe leave that one out. I know you like it.
And be okay with constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can just be that,
Right.
it's not at you. We
Right.
promise.
Yeah.
We want you to be successful.
For sure.
100% agree. Well, this has been awesome. I think my final thought is the better you understand your carriers, the better you'll serve your clients, and your rep is the bridge to that insight.
Yeah. And Nathan and I were chatting before you came down here, Eric, and I'm just astounded by how the insurance industry is just all about people and relationships. So be a good person first and foremost, and be good around people and build good relationships. And I think that's just how an agent's going to be successful.
Absolutely. My mom always said you put good in, you get good out,
Yeah,
right? So
For sure. I have one closing question for us and for you, Nathan. If an agent had to write a LinkedIn endorsement for you as their rep, what would you hope it would say?
I would hope that it would say something like attentive and earnest and willing to help, but also has a sense of humor as well.
Love it.
I know I would put knowledgeable on there. You know your product inside and out,
thanks.
and that's a huge thing. Gives agents a lot of confidence when asking a question and you just know it. It's always good to verify, but you've got it down.
So one of the things you need to be kind of as a carrier rep is a credible educator, right? At the end of the day, just as you educate your clients on their options, my job and the carrier's rep's job is to educate you as well with either the product design, the news, the updates of the carrier, and also the compliance as well. So if you can come to me and you feel confident that you've got a good answer, then I've done my job.
I love that.
That's awesome. And I'm confident in you, Nathan. Really appreciate you being on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This was Nathan Wirth with Trinity Health Plans, talking about how you can leverage your carrier rep relationships to improve your business. So we would recommend for you to grow your relationships with your carrier reps. So get out there and keep growing.